the one thing we're going to check out today before we get started, guys. It's 10.1.5 is now live, so why not talk about 11.0? Yeah, always looking forward. Always got your dick pointed towards the future. That's how you should live life. That's how you should play this game. Thrall leads us to a new land. Doran supposedly knows where the next expansion is going. Beautiful new roundup. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, POTUS. Yes, the news always every morning. We get into it.
It was essentially just leaked that Thrall is going to be the main character of the new expansion, and with all the foreshadowing these past
He said Thrall, not Troll, by the way. I just
expansions,
misunderstood.
11.0 might just be the biggest expansion yet.
The new lands is the MMO you showed us yesterday.
In the latest WoW patch, we just data mined a new item that confirmed that we will go to a brand new undiscovered facility, very likely on a new continent that we had never seen. Blizzard also added some new maps called Shadow of Azeroth, which is based on Quatalas, related to Void Elves, which means we could also be getting revamped Eastern Kingdom soon. A lot of hints right now point that this could be a two-part expansion based on the rebuilding of the Eastern Kingdom.
We're gonna try to do the new Mega Dungeon.
Revamp combined with us preparing an expedition to this new continent, which, seeing that Thrall is relevant, might involve something with elemental energies and Azeroth Awakening. So what are all these new hints that we just got for the expansion? That will be announced this BlizzCon.
That's right.
If you guys are liking Dragonflight, you're gonna love Call of Dragons, an amazing MMO strategy right in your pockets.
There you go. Mobile gaming, boys.
An MMO with up-to-date standards and graphics. I mean, what better can you get as a fan of Warcraft? Now, these terrible ancient behemoths had arisen. There's 8 of them, and each one is a super unique challenge with guild versus environment combat instances. Now, the absolute coolest thing is you can become your alliance's beastmasters and tame them, and then use them as a weapon, and you can catch them all. Depending on how you train them, they can be a
the jailer is returning in 11.0,
and with multiple skill trees and wise guidance, it is going to be an unstoppable asset. It is a huge responsibility, but just don't forget to feed it. There is also PvP, large-scale battles, a ton of other MMO features with PC and mobile crossplay. So make sure to check out my link in the description below, or use the QR code on the screen, and use code CODMonsters to get amazing rewards in-game to become a Beastmaster today. Magic, Monsters, Mastery.
Okay, back to the real content. Let's go.
So every day we're getting closer to BlizzCon, and it is almost certain that they're going to announce the next expansion. However,
they really wrapped up the Lich King plotline. I'm not reading that, Burning Vikings, so you can fucking clip it. Get the hell out of here.
There has been sort of a leak recently with Blizzard changing some maps to Quatalas that's called Shadow of Azeroth, related to Void Elves, which indicates of an Eastern Kingdom expansion, and you can check out all the detailed info I have in the previous video, as I've released that and just covered everything. And we also have a guy that managed to predict 3 expansions so far 7 years ago, and he's never actually been wrong.
People keep bringing this up. Yes, this man has never been wrong, but I do think after Shadowlands, things changed. I don't think they're going to, obviously, Horde and Alliance War line, Elemental Lords line, maybe. Maybe we get an Elemental Lords line going into the other side of Azeroth and all that shit, but Horde and Alliance War, probably not going to happen anymore, considering that we're best friends now. We don't fight anymore. But yeah, if this was going to continue, or if there's a reason this doesn't continue, I would say Shadowlands was so bad that they had to pivot away from this calendar here.
And he said that the next expansion will be Elemental, Shah, or Yasharaj Void related, so there is also that info. However, for this video, we actually have a ton of brand new info, and this is more than just connecting some faint dots using some forum posts, leaks, and various data mine maps, because we just got an item and we got some artwork directly from Blizzard that confirmed what will be coming soon. So in 10.1.5,
Thrall is on the
got a
BlizzCon
really interesting item called the Infinite Hand, which gives you this little buff. I mean, who cares, nothing special. However, this little buff says that it is only active in Uldaman, Ulduar, Uldum, Uldir, Ulderus, and Uldas. Now, check this out. All these places are actually Titan facilities built for various purposes. Some were the seat of the Titan Keepers, some were water purification factories, some were literally meant to destroy the entire planet. However, what is interesting is that we have actually visited all these places except Uldas. Now, keep in mind, this item says that it will be
Oh,
active
yeah,
in
good
Uldas,
catch.
which, in my opinion,
Where is Uldas? I
almost
guess
certainly
he'll tell us
confirms
here.
that we are going to go there quite soon. This is not just some flavor text that mentions some vague lore, some vague cosmic being. I mean, this literally
So
says
Uldas
you can
nuts,
use it
yeah.
in this zone, and I'm pretty sure they wrote this, they knew what is going to happen. Now, this is where things get really interesting, and I think this might just be the biggest hint that we have in regards to new continent so far.
Okay, what
Check
is
this
it?
out. All the facilities are on different continents. We've got Uldaman in the Eastern Kingdoms, we
Okay.
have Ulduar in Northrend, we have
Alright.
Uldum on Kalimdor, we
Yeah.
have Uldir in Zandalar, and
Right.
we have Uldurus on the Dragon Isles. Now, it
Okay.
doesn't discount that this Uldas could be on the Dragon Isles, for example, but let's be real, if 6 of these follow this logic on separate continents, it is very
True.
likely that the 7th is going to do it as well. I'm certain by this point, all of you have heard of this little place called Avaloren, and I don't really want to
Yes.
bother you too much on this, you're very likely already aware of a bunch of the hints, but let's just say it is incredibly likely that Uldas is exactly on this Avaloren. Uldas was actually
It makes
briefly
sense.
mentioned in BFA back in the day, and
This is honestly so far the least wild speculative Doran video we've ever watched. This totally makes sense. I agree with
now in
this logic
Dragonflight,
so
we got
far.
a ton of foreshadowing for this new continent. Avaloren is a very likely continent as we haven't seen it anywhere, and we know the Titan Keepers sent expeditions to go there. An expedition definitely implies a significant journey, possibly across the sea, and we
I think
also
the
know
new
that this was a
Hearthstone
place
Titan
where
could
the
be there.
Titan Forge
Maybe. They
were,
have
which
Titans and
means
Hearthstone
there's
lore from time to
probably
time.
a major Titan facility in this
Although
place.
it's not
We just saw in
required.
Dragonflight
There
that
are
a group
Hearthstone
of
things
Titan
not in
Forge
WoW.
rebel against their masters, essentially bunkered themselves up in this zone. They took over the zone, and this happened thousands and
Interesting.
thousands of years ago. I mean, it is hard to pinpoint it, but almost certainly older than 20,000 years ago, which significantly implies that this civilization might have isolated themselves, and we could literally have a place right on Azeroth that is something unlike anything we had ever seen before, because it was isolated for such a long time. When we combine
Okay.
this with Nightsquall and the pirates, it isn't hard to connect this to a brand new continent. This legendary pirate only appeared briefly in 10.0.7, and we know his lore didn't have anything to do with the recent patches.
Yeah,
and
yeah, he has nothing to do with Dragonflight. If you don't know, this is Night Elf sitting in Borealis right now, and he's supposedly gone to the other side of Azeroth. He's gone to the other side of the world, discovered new land, all this shit. It's the new expansion, guys. It's going to be a party. I even think the new 6-month sub... That's right. That's right. We're discovering new things here today. I even think the new 6-month sub is the little fish mount. Personally, that's very, aquatic, sea related. I think that also has to do with the fact that we're going to cross the seas, go over to the next expansion. Yeah, and by the way, we're going to build boats.
recent storylines, so
You
this
heard it
is
here first.
very likely either a foreshadowing for the end
Playable
of
fish
Dragonflight
people
or
soon,
for
maybe.
the next expansion. For a long
People
time,
wanted that back in
has
Myst.
been a mystery that a whole giant hidden continent exists west of Kalimdor and that no one could ever reach it, or they could reach it, it's just they never actually
They never
returned
came back.
until this guy managed
Yeah.
to return, and he just came to the Dragon Isles. He gathered a whole bunch of plunder, and we just learned that he's gathering a new expedition to actually go back. I mean,
That's
what other
right.
hints do you really need that this is probably this new continent? Now, people have also connected this to the Old Gods and the 5th Old God, which is also a very, very plausible theory. Old WoW Classic documents told us that 5 Old Gods exist, and then with the Chronicle, Blizzard retconned this, confirmed that 4 actually exist, but now, this old retcon document actually, for some reason, returned in Dragonflight. When we data mined this, people said, I mean, this is just a PTR, it's probably only a mistake, they probably didn't double check, but
What's
now
up,
it's
Koi?
been months, this document is still in the game, so let's just say it is canon, and this isn't actually contradictory whatsoever when you think about it. What we had discovered in Deathwing's library was that the Titans couldn't remove all the old gods, so
Right.
they hid something beyond the waves, and they just told us
Hidden beyond the waves. Hence, this new island or new continent could be, completely influenced by the old gods.
they reordered the
And the
entire
reason why
planet,
they
just
found it is
lied
because the
about this
Titans
spot.
hid it.
So naturally, their history book,
About
the one
to
they
sleep,
wrote,
my
the
leg.
Chronicle, would only mention the ones they managed to
All right,
clear
Koi,
out,
have a
and they
good
would say
sleep.
only those 4 exist. They definitely
It is
wouldn't
interesting,
write,
Obsidian,
yeah,
I
we
agree.
hit this 5th old guy on a continent because we couldn't get rid of him because, we're not powerful enough. However, you guys probably already heard about this, but let's get into literally the biggest hint of the next expansion we had received thus far, the most legit one, and this is the very likelihood that Thrall is going to be the elite or one of the main characters, which can kind of actually guide us to where this expansion is going.
Right.
So, about a week ago, we got a brand new official BlizzCon announcement out that includes all the characters from Blizzard's relevant franchises that will be covered.
I didn't pay attention, but yeah, these are all the most relevant characters right now, and Thrall is on here for World of Warcraft. I didn't even think about it.
On the convention, but then for Warcraft, we got Thrall. Now, initially you would think, I mean, who cares? Like this.
Not to mention, guys, Chris Metzen has returned to Blizzard, and we all know Thrall is the Warcraft living embodiment of Chris Metzen. This is his character. This is himself in the game. So, yeah, Thrall could take a leadership role once again, just as Chris has. We've seen their lives mirror each other before.
Kind of a neutral one that people associate with Warcraft, but let's just say that has never actually been the case, and we have the history to prove it. Back when Shadowlands was announced in 2019, we had Sylvanas on the cover art, and well, you know who was relevant in that expansion, and we also had Jaina back when BFA was announced in 2017. Now, we can't say that BFA was a Jaina expansion and Shadowlands was a Sylvanas expansion, but it is sort of a
they certainly played major roles.
Characters of these two expansions. So if we go by this logic, we could say that Thrall is going to be one of the main characters of 11.0, and honestly, this makes perfect sense. Blizzard has constantly been talking about how they want to scale down, they want to go back to that classic RPG feel of Azeroth,
they got a logo,
Warcraft.
nice.
Dragonflight is definitely that, although in my opinion I think they kind of overcorrected on that in contrast to Shadowlands. They kind of
I'll give you a shout out when you do.
A bit too much. However, when I think of classic WoW and old school, I think Thrall. I mean, it's literally the first character that pops in my mind. He is super popular.
He is a mainstay of old school WoW.
Bring back the old players, the nostalgia. He was all about faction peace, which is currently relevant. He essentially built World of Warcraft as we have it. However, now that is cool and all. However, now the question is, I mean, we have all these Avaloren hints. We have this new Titan civilization. I mean, what exactly does Thrall the Orc have anything to do with that? And honestly, I think we can kind of connect the dots. So while we're getting all these hints from Avaloren and the new continent, we're also getting a ton of Eastern Kingdom hints, and in my opinion, this expansion could be something sort of actually novel, like a two-part expansion. Think of it something akin to Legion. We've had the whole of Broken Isles on Azeroth, but we've also had the entire planet of Argus, which was a part of a single patch. I think this could be that.
That's a great patch.
Bigger scale. So at the moment, we've had Blizzard add some maps called the Shadow of Azeroth, which is actually related to that old little part of Qualtalas that isn't actually accessible, that has mysteriously been covered by this weird whale of the void. We know Stromgarth has been rebuilt, and it is only a matter of time before it becomes a city in the actual game. Blizzard told us that we might get a questline of becoming Gilneas that has already been set up
revamping of some old
Shadowlands.
cities.
We've had it set up in Qualtalas where they cleared out the Scourge, which could indicate a revamp. We've also had Scarlet Crusade leaflets.
Right, if we could just fly, in Silvermoon, that'd be a freaking big upgrade to the game.
Items making them relevant once again, as well as an actual revamp
Scarlet
of the Scarlet Monastery, and also the Forsaken, and them rebuilding on the city. So, long story short, a ton of hints of a lot of action happening.
Good luck with the new dungeon today. You'll love it. So much fun. Oh, good. Gamers push. Thanks. I'm excited.
There has also been a ton of gradual revamp changes that we're data mining patch after patch. From new player skeletons to new guard models to new building models to holiday revamps. Pretty much every single patch, every single mini patch, we're getting something indicating that a world revamp.
There's also been a lot of new Halloween holiday item revamps. A lot of new
already on the way. On top of all of this, we also have a ton of void hints. We have the new Cosmic Void magic. We have Anshul that has been foreshadowed to be related to Elune, possibly Obsidian. A dark version of our sun. We have some hints of Yashirash. We have old god hints just all over the Dragon Isles. We even have the Naga and Ashara foreshadowing of the Queen returning from the Veil of the Void, and that still hasn't happened in Dragonflight. So it is realistic that something could awaken on this new continent, and that we have to prepare an expedition, but the preparation would happen on the Eastern Kingdoms. I mean, we could get Qualtalas, Gilneas, as well as the Forsaken rebuilding their fleet. I mean, they used to have significant fleets, which could be a good reason to revamp the zones, and we can build our own boats. Something with the Void Elves in this area and with the Void in general. In my opinion, the biggest correlation with all this and that we could get with Thrall in this new continent is the fact that Thrall is a very powerful and a very influential shaman. A lot of new elemental lore is happening on the Dragon Isles. Recent confirmations also kind of told us that the Azeroth's World Soul may even be a Titan, and that she might just be actually elemental in nature. So depending on what craziness Iridicron unleashes on us in this expansion, and all these old gods just waiting to ambush us at any moment, we could get some sort of a scenario of Azeroth awakening. There is a reason the Dragon Isles just returned out of nowhere, and the biggest hint
True.
is that this might have something to do with Azeroth finally awakening and just getting more powerful elemental energies. So if something crazy happens, then we could get this insane elemental stuff everywhere, maybe some type of a new Cataclysm. We might need Thrall once again, just
Cataclysm
like we needed
revamp.
Cataclysm. This could even be a
Cataclysm
reason
Classic.
for Blizzard to do a world revamp, or at least some zones, and this
3%
could
2 days ago, I was
uncover
gonna
the
cry.
veil of
Ooh, that
Avaloren,
hurts.
which could set us up for this new expedition. Of course, we are not really working with all that much legit information. A lot of things are vague. It could definitely be something just entirely different that no one is actually predicting.
I
But
actually
what is
think
clear
he's
right
on the
now
right
is
track
that
here.
Avaloren and
I do.
Uldas will definitely be relevant soon. Thrall is going to be the main character of the new expansion, or one of the main characters, and something is just definitely cooking in the background with the Void and the Old Gods. Thank you for
Yeah.
watching. Check out this new scenario where Lordran actually defeated the Scourge by clicking on the screen, and check out Lordran's Academy for videos on real world history. See you next time!
Yep. This looks very relevant. I totally agree with a lot of, like I said, of all the Doran videos we've watched on this channel, this is probably one of the least speculative. He actually presents a lot of good evidence for his beliefs here. I think he's right, man. We're going to the other side of the world.